folks, welcome back to another episode of Coffee, Tea, and Crime. Today we're going to look at Omaha's Easter tragedy. It's still to this day one of Omaha's most infamous cold cases. Back in March of 1986, 11-year-old little boy named Ricky Chaddick would disappear, and it would be 8 days before his body was found. Now, Omaha, at the time of this event, was a city of right around 500,000 people. Now, according to Ricky's mama, he loved Transformers, G.I. Joe, and he was a Lego man. Wanted to be an astronaut when he got older. Now it's March 23rd, 1986. It's Palm Sunday, the Sunday before Easter. Now Ricky and his mama, they went to church. Now after church, and they got home and changed out of their Sunday clothes, she took Ricky and his bicycle over to a friend's house, not too far away. And the idea was he's going to hang out with his buddy, and then he was going to come home at 5 o'clock. So she drops him off. Now it gets to be right around 5 o'clock. And then a little past, well, Ricky calls his mom at the house and said he's going to be late. Said he just forgot what time it was. According to his mama, he told her he was sorry and he'd be on his way. She told him, don't worry about it, just be safe and come home. Now, Ricky got about 2 blocks from his house, right there at the intersection of 42nd and Valley. And there's a bank there on the northeast section. Now, when it got to be around 5:30, Mama got to worrying because Ricky still wasn't home, and he should have been. In fact, his mama had mentioned how Ricky and her had discussed the route that he should take to come home, the safest route. Well, she gets in her car and she starts driving around. Well, she gets over there to 42nd and Valley, and she sees his bicycle. Now, there's a fence that runs behind the bank right there, that wooden fence. Now, she said she saw his bicycle, said it was shoved back between the dumpster and the wooden enclosure that encircles it. So now she gets out, she hollers for him. Well, then she goes on back to the house and she calls the police. So now the police get out and they get to looking. Now, they had a witness that said that they saw a little boy that they thought it could have been Ricky based on the description, and that he had pulled up to a blue truck there in the parking lot of the bank. Now, I take it from the resource material that it was going to be that west parking lot by the bank. Now, according to the witness, this blue truck didn't know if it was a Ford or a Chevy, but it had wooden sideboards. So the sideboards were painted to match the truck. Now that's all they had. Now, of course, you got all kinds of theories on how the person or persons got Ricky in that truck. Was it just happenstance, or had they been stalking Ricky, or maybe he was just unlucky enough to be the one this fella or fellas saw. Anyways, now there was a theory police had, and it's just one of many, that it was Palm Sunday. Now, of course, that's considered the first day of Holy Week, and it's always the Sunday before Easter. And it commemorates Jesus Christ's entry into Jerusalem. So they're wondering if there's some religious connection to this. Was Ricky part of this fantasy this person or persons had? Well, Easter Sunday rolls around. No sign of Ricky until that morning. And then a farmer out checking his fields finds Ricky's body there in a grove of trees. Now that's right there near 168th and Ida. Now his body was found down that embankment there. And you would have had to have been out in the field to have seen it. I don't believe you could have seen it from the road. Now, police noted that it looked like Ricky's clothes were relatively clean. It didn't look like he had suffered, at least according to the autopsy, hadn't suffered malnutrition or anything else. And that whoever had him had fed him. Because now they found food that he had consumed. Medical examiner said there was ham, and that the ham had been fried. There was corn, celery, and potatoes. So whoever it was, they had fed him. Now, according to the ME, it looked like that last meal had come, if not on Easter Day, then the night before. Now, they did collect hair follicles recovered from, I'm going to assume, Ricky's clothing. Now, they submitted it for DNA. Now, they only got a partial profile. According to authorities, there was not enough there to enter it into the DNA database. Now, this case is, after all these years, they are looking at trying to do genetic genealogy DNA. They're going to try to get it from another direction, which seems to be pretty successful in other cases. Now, the ME said that Ricky died of traumatic asphyxiation caused by either strangulation or smothering. It's one of these cases, just from the resource material, it has haunted everyone that's dealt with the case, obviously, because you want to solve it. It won't bring Ricky back because Ricky's in heaven. But you'd sure like to know who did it. And if they're still alive, you'd like to know why they did it. It's always that why. Why do this? Did Palm Sunday and Easter have anything to do with this kidnapping, or was it something totally different? Sad case. A lot of unanswered questions. But you would think by now, if there was anybody that knew about it other than the suspect, they would have told him. I don't know how you couldn't keep from telling him. But it makes you wonder about the fella or fellas, or, I mean, you can't rule out a female, I guess, either, but whoever it was, you just wonder how they could keep that in them. Of course, now if they are a mental consumer, this ritual they did was something they were supposed to do, so I guess it wouldn't bother them. Also makes you wonder if there's any other cases similar to Ricky's that are unsolved, or maybe they're solved. There's a similar MO. Now, according to the resource material, the initial crime and discovery of the body, they had almost 60 investigators from agencies all in the immediate area that were involved. They had a pretty large bunch of people involved in this, all looking at it. Sad case. Maybe one day somebody will tell it.